water, good roads to waka. Our teka, allow us to live better. Hear the voice of the wailing masses. They are waiting for food, they are waiting for water. Hear the voice of the wailing masses. They are waiting for lights, they are waiting for shelter. For so many years, we followed like cattle in our head. No idea where we are headed. Today it will end. Slowly, we don't turn to beggar. My short on Wakisa. The things where we get 19, they suffer. Oju Kororo, common man, or alright. When I see my people in pain, hear the voice of the wailing masses. Hear the voice of the wailing masses. They are waiting for food, they are waiting for water. At the time when I wrote that song, I was living in Bariga, and there's so much that you can see around there in terms of poverty and the low standard of living and all that. So that was enough. And it wasn't, I didn't plan to write a song for Boy Nigeria, like I say all the time. I went to see a video director, DJT, and we were talking about the protest that was going to happen. It was going to happen on Monday. We were talking about it, I think, on Thursday or Friday or something. And he said he would like to document it, and he needed somebody to write a song. And then he asked me if I could write a song. And that was like on Thursday or Friday or so. And I said, okay, I'll try. And I called my producer, the piano, and we went into the studio and we came up with that song. So it wasn't, but I think as soon as I got to the studio, I just thought about everything, and it just came naturally, and it just...
And I've noticed most of your songs talk about the social issues. You're not talking about love, or you're talking about...
No, I sing about love. I sing about life. But the thing is, what is dominant in our society now? What are the issues that we're facing? I sing about love. I'm a romantic person. But the dominant issues, let's not forget them. And for a day like this, for a concert like this, where it's about Nigeria, it's about the future of Nigeria, it's about opening up people's consciousness to see this thing so that they can do what is right, they can vote right, and we don't want violence, we just want to vote. Let us have a free and fair election, and let's repair our democracy. Democracy is damaged, badly damaged right now, but we're trying to repair it.
Yeah, welcome back, viewers. And don't tell me we don't have great artists in Nigeria. The fact that you see people throwing naked ladies singing about Komole, Ramole, Pakurumo, there are huge talents, and that clip is a confirmation that we have Nigerian artists who talk about the social injustice in our society. And I've got the pleasure in the studio, DJ Abass Tijani.
How are you doing?
You are an expert in that industry. Now, I know
a bit.
Let me throw the first question. Who would you consider the greatest social change artist in Nigeria?
That's not a tough one, and it's not very competitive. And I rank him as one of the greatest social change artists in the world, Fela Kuti. He believed in it, he stood for it, he reflected in his music, and to a degree, one can say it almost killed him as well. What some people don't even remember was Fela's career was in phases. His first phase, he was a high life artist. And most of the time, at that time, he was out of town and then came into Nigeria. And then at some point, he became an Afrobeat artist. His music changed. The lyrics changed, And then we ask ourselves, why? Why did Fela have to change so passionately? So passionately. And Fela was locked up, I stand to be corrected, in about 25 or 26 Nigerian prisons.
Yeah.
Going to prison, if you ever had the chance of seeing Fela without his clothes on, and I don't mean, but Fela had scars from beatings, It took a chance. He was somebody who epitomizes everything about today's topic, protest songs. And governments practically were scared of Fela through his music. So the question is, can protest songs make impact? Yes, they can. But how much of an impact has it made to us as a people, Nigerians? So very, very little.
So Fela is definitely the master when it comes to protest music.
Unquestionably.
Okay, now I've got on my list, I've got Raskimono, Sonny Okonzo, Hubert Ogunde, Majek Fashek, among the old cadres.
Yeah.
How would you describe, let me start Raskimono, Sonny Okonzo.
Well, with all due respect to all the names you've mentioned, I probably won't class them alongside Fela in terms of protest songs. Sonny Okonzo was a Pan-Africanist, you know, and his attack was mostly to the, you know, the neo-colonialists, you know. He wanted a new Africa, you know, Papa's land, Soweto. He was always, at the time when Sonny came into the fore, the biggest problem in Africa was apartheid.
Apartheid in South
So
Africa.
the core of his lyrics and his music was about apartheid, not much about Nigeria, with all due respect to Sonny Okonzo. Majek Fashek, his music embodied quite a lot, you know, a bit of fun, because historically reggae music was born out of oppression, historically. You know, and we had elements of that in his music, you know, police brutality. But then on the other hand, he would talk about murder, talk about Genesis. And if I just told you, Fela slept in over 25, was locked up in over 25 prison jails, you know, and he was at the slight, he lost his mom, you know, to an attack based on this. So I think it would be, I wouldn't kind of like compare them to Fela, but I would acknowledge stuff they've done. And in terms of the two names you've mentioned, yes, but
okay. Now let's look at the new generation artists. You manage artists, and we see a lot of songs out there that's been very successful in Nigeria, and most of the successful ones are the ones that describe women's cleavages, sort of epitomize, is very sexist, but not too much success in terms of protest songs that talk about the core. We're looking at the Two-Face Idibia, Sound Sultan, LDs, Neka. They make Asha. They
make very cerebral music. But I think also your times dictate the type of music you make. If you go to America's 60s and 70s, like the footage you show, you know, showed that Harry Belafonte was a very, very critical figure during the struggle in America for black emancipation. And at the time, you know, I don't know if you've seen the film Selma, you know, the likes of him came and stood up for what they believed in, and 45 years later, history, you know, has kind of like supported being on their side. I think Nigeria is going through a very, very difficult state right now. I was watching 18 out of 36 states in Nigeria currently have not paid salaries of their staff between 3 to 9 months.
Yeah, they've not paid salary, but we don't have songs coming out.
However, I saw a footage, a local government in Edo State, just 3-4 days ago, you know, went to the council headquarters to protest. And in the background, they were playing Fela's Army Arrangement.
Wow.
Now, they didn't go to see a military regime, but that is what Fela epitomizes. The fact that you have about 1,000 people outside your offices and they are playing Fela in their car, you know they're not there to play. And Fela is dead, is dead now. But then what he represents is enough to cause fear.
Wow.
So
in the minds of the
and right now I'm looking at this period, my concern right now is it appears, because protest songs are born out of struggle. And Nigeria is going through a lot of struggle right now in every sphere. And I don't see such happening. I see more of the artists, you know, now looking for a political camp.
Okay.
As opposed to perhaps putting a song together. And then it is not an easy struggle to take on, really, because it has consequences as well, you know. And the more successful you are, the bigger the consequences, you know. Nigeria Jaga Jaga by Idris Abdul Karim, you know, got the attention of the then President Obasanjo. And year after year, even up to last year, he still referenced Idris.
Yes.
It got his attention. And it's perhaps not the most patriotic sounding title in Nigeria, Jaga Jaga. But then if you ask the average man on the street, and every segment of every element that Idris alluded to in that song,
it reflects their
sentiments today. So protest songs, yes, they are very, very important. In itself may not kickstart a protest, but at times it can elongate it.
Okay, let's take the first phone call for today. We've thrown the phone lines open. Good evening, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Good evening, Kayode.
Good evening.
I'm calling from London.
All right, go ahead, please.
DJ Abass, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yes. you are the person managing the young generation, the young artists in Nigeria.
No, I'm not, sir.
Okay, you mix the music, because I've listened to the music that you mix.
Yes.
Can you point out any meaningful music that is being released from 1999 to today?
Well, it depends what you mean by meaningful, sir.
Meaningful music, what I mean, like as a kid, I listened to my elder was playing this Samuel Kuti, Ras Imono, as 1998, 1994, 95. I listened to those music. My elder brothers, they buy them and they play the car. But these days, Whiskey, the Vito, everything they send is see Yabutos, don't go low. all those music. Then they like now that everybody is glorifying today. People learn from them. What would their key as a DJ promote?
Yeah, Chooks, I get. Thank you so much. I get your message.
I need to answer the question.
Yeah, it's trying to say that DJs like you don't promote conscious music. That's
no, I don't think that's what he's saying.
Okay.
First, what he has to realize is there are different generations, different eras. He alluded to Wizkid. Wizkid is one of the most talented acts to come out of Africa. Yeah. He is not Wizkid just because we like him. It's because he's producing something. Yeah. And I think what he was trying to say is that he perhaps expects some of our artists to do more conscious music.
Yes.
But then even if you go back to the times of Fela, we can still count on our fingers the amount of artists that were doing conscious music.
Absolutely,
it's
yeah.
almost a gift because you need to be cerebral. You need to be think on a different level to actually produce such music, number one. So, and not everybody has that gift. And yes, we have, and the likes of Fela are very rare. You know, how many can we mention out of Nigeria? So, yes, it's the trend in pop music. I think it was alluded to pop music. Yeah. And that's what you get with pop music all over the world, in America, all over Africa. You know, so you get elements. Today, he can say that on one hand, but today, I live in the UK, I'm a diaspora, and I have a 20-year-old son. Yeah. And my son has been to Nigeria a few times, but they're not necessarily enough to imbibe Nigerian values. Okay. But today, he can say he's Nigerian because he listens to those songs which is necessarily, which is
a sort of cultural.
So that's a major advantage in terms of diaspora. Our economy was, I'm sorry, I would say this, our economy was recently rebased, and Nollywood and music has shown great strides as income generators. So
let me get in another caller. Hello, good evening, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, my name is Thomas. DJ Abass, well known.
Hello, sir. Hello.
And my good friend Kayode Sankara.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. I think basically one of the problems I see with the Protestants these days, I think it's like a societal thing, in the sense that obviously because of the nature of the country, poverty is part of it. So everyone is going, most people are going into music. The first thing on their mind is money, not about the situation of the country. And some protest singers are really born. So like, we don't talk about Fela now. Fela, you can see that was just him. So some people, if you look at all the protest singers, the foremost thing in their mind is not the money, it's to pass on the message. So I think if the new generation, I don't know how we're going to change it, but it's all about fame. And that's the problem. So honestly, I think it's a long time to go. Okay,
thank you so much for that. I've got, let me read my Twitter messages. We've got Tunde Ajayi said, which of the, well, this has got nothing to do with today's topic, so I won't read it, sorry. TM Bada, Komole, Ramole, Pakrumo, Politics with KO is on fire today. I've got another tweet, Dikpo Awojide, how many fellas do we have in Nigeria? Even top civil rights activists bow to brown envelopes. And based on that assertion by Dikpo, a lot of artists, and some of whom we've seen in the UK, during political, we only hear about them during the political electoral period. They just get endorsement to politicians. Some are alleged to collect billions of naira. Can't they just channel those energies to also think about injustice when we don't have politics in play?
No, and Dikpo said, how many fellas do we have in Nigeria? How many do we have in Africa? The likes of fella are very, very rare. And you're very, very right. If you look at the last election we had, I'm going to go unconventional right now. No, don't worry. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I'm going to go on. And I'm not going to answer.
Just
don't call me.
As usual, on live TV.
I forgot to switch it up. I'm so sorry.
Okay, let me have, when you bring in people in the entertainment industry, you get this kind of show. Okay, so
but what I'm saying is, I'm a diasporan. Yeah. I live in, but I'm very, very in touch with what's happening in Nigeria. And the last election, at any time in the history of Nigeria in recent times, that was the most critical point in the history of Nigeria, because really Nigeria was predicted by certain people that Nigeria could have broken apart. What role can artists play? This last election, more than any, if I got to a point, I thought some of the politicians would end up being musicians, because at every rally, at every opportunity, they were embracing people in entertainment, musicians and actors, but for the wrong reasons, because they know these people have numbers. And I say, on the flip side, you can use your music positively to effect change. The irony of protest music is that there are quite a few number of protest artists in Nigeria. We just don't know them. A good example is Aduke.
Yes.
Aduke is not new, you know, but then protest songs at times would not connect, doesn't connect with the average, with the average mind. You know, it needs to be a kind of unique presentation, maybe even confrontational, like Nigeria Jaga Jaga, you know. But then after 2 or 3 Nigeria Jaga Jagas, you could end up in jail.
Yeah, or you could end up without money in your pocket.
Exactly. So ultimately, it's a vicious cycle. You know, the likes of Fela, like I said, are very, very rare.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We're not going to take your call now, because we want to go on a short break, and this person you're going to see is actually one of the heir apparent, I say, to Fela Kuti, Lagbaja. And what is actually quite unique about this artist for our viewers who are not from Nigeria is that you have this artist who sort of remain anonymous, and he talk all his songs talk about social injustice. He doesn't mock about. He doesn't do pakurumo. He doesn't do komole. You know, he doesn't do show me your fast forward or your backyard. Lagbaja is a very serious artist, and if our producers have got him ready, we would have a look at Lagbaja, and when we come back, DJ Abass is going to talk about protest song, the new generation, the likes of Lagbaja, and what they are doing for Nigeria. Me, I'm not amongst two, as they say in Nigeria. I think it's 199 points minus 1 mumu. Before I take the next caller, Lagbaja, they're very direct. He doesn't mess about, you know, calling Nigerians 200 million mumu. They get bashed with a lot of nonsense, and they take it and they say Rankadede. Are you surprised at how direct Lagbaja could be sometimes?
What I'm surprised at is the propensity of Nigerians, our threshold to contain bad governance must be the highest in the world. Because time and time again, you know, you listen to most of these protest songs, it's the same thing. Yeah. Food no day, light no day, water no day. It's the same thing consistently. If there's a hit protest song tomorrow, I can predict what's going to be in it. You know, now in 2012, Occupy Nigeria, the fuel subsidy crisis, that was, you know, that was the biggest in recent times. Yeah. And it's like we forget so soon. Even the way that whole protesting was quelled in Ojota, yeah. I think by day 3 or day 4, artists were being invited to perform. And I would have thought that such a gathering would bring in some of the greatest conscious minds musically. Yeah. But I won't mention names, but we still had a lot of the regular guys coming there singing, I like girls, 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 I want, and I'm thinking...
At a venue of a movement.
You know, it doesn't paint the picture right.
Okay, let me take the next caller. Good evening, caller. Sorry for keeping you so long. Are you one of the 200 million mumus? Because me, I'm not part of the mumus. Hello, good evening.
Currently, I'm not one of the 200 million mumu, because I'm aware of you know, a lot of things. Okay, where are you calling from, please? I'm calling from Nigeria.
All right, go ahead, please.
Yes, really, I think what's happening with our artists today, you know, it's because we don't have sincere activists in quotes, in the sense that people no longer, you know, about their neighbors. You know, all they think about now is themselves. And, you know, it's actually, you will see it, you know, play out during the last election. You know, when you find out that even despite the fact that people knew that the past government were so bad, you know, we had a lot of artists come out to sing in support, you know, of his election. You know, it's so bad because you really want to question how these people, how are they really thinking? You know, because all they need now, you know, like before said, is the money. Just give them the money and then who cares? So I think it goes beyond, you know, I'm also maybe because of, you know, like the times are beginning to change. Gone are the days when, you know, people could actually voice out, you know, to intimidate government as well.
Okay, thank you so much.
Now becoming more timid.
All right, thank you, Taiwo. Thanks for calling all the way from Nigeria, and that's the fact there. But let me talk about. There's an artist that aligned with the. There's no point just hiding. What's his name? The Banj.
Yeah.
You know, campaigned for President Jonathan, legitimately interviewed him, and that almost sort of destroyed him actually within the Nigerian left movement.
I don't think, well, it is politics. He perhaps supported at a higher level than the average. So it wasn't just about him showing up. The norm is to show up at the rally, you know, do a song, get paid to do a song, and go. And they can actually come back, you know, and say, look, I was doing my job. You know, I was invited to come and perform. And some do it at federal government level, some do it at state, some do it at local government level. But perhaps with the Banj, it was a bit more. And when you do a bit more, you get a bit more. You know, because he's a man of influence. And if the opposition deem your influence can work to the advantage of the then president, of course you're going to get a lot of hate. And having said that, during the last election, I don't do politics, as you probably know. I don't support any political party, but I lived in the present president. And I can only say maybe because I was old enough to live during the time when he was first a military ruler.
So there's nothing bad for artists to take sides?
No. There's absolutely nothing wrong. As a Nigerian, if you truly believe in anybody, if you truly believe that this person can effect change, especially in a nation like Nigeria's development, it happens all over the world. It happens in America. Artists back politicians.
Yeah, because during the Obama...
yes, Jay-Z came out and performed, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Now, Obama ended up being the president of the United States of America. It's a landmark victory, the first black president, you know, in our lifetime. Something that would never happen. And Jay-Z can look and say, look, I played a role in that happening. Oprah Winfrey was one of the first people that came out to support openly. You know, it could have backfired, you know. So there is absolutely nothing wrong in supporting. What is wrong is when you have the wrong motive behind supporting. If your support, it's just personal to the point where it's about, you know, quote unquote, the brown envelopes. That is where the problem is.
Okay, I want to bring in my next caller, but before then, let me read an email by Omo_Charlie, on Twitter. This is the most entertaining Politics with KO by Ogundamisi I have watched, to be honest. I'm still laughing at 200 million Mumu. Fela Kuti is a legend, though. Thanks for that, should I say, pat on the shoulder. Let's have our next caller. Good evening, caller. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, my name is Chris. I'm calling from Kayode.
All right, go ahead, Chris.
Okay, I'm a fan. Okay, well, I used to be a fan of DJ Abass.
Used to.
In a way, I am, but I'm going to be quick. Now, we have a lot of conscious artists in Nigeria. Now, but our Nigerian DJs are so corrupt. Now, I'm not saying DJ Abass is one of them, but there was a time in my life whereby I was very close to a lot of Nigerian artists, and they told me that if you come out with a good conscious music, but if you don't have enough money to bribe the DJs, your music will not be played.
Okay, let's hold on, don't go. Let DJ Abass clarify that. Does that happen in the industry?
Yes and no. I handle artists, and today, just today alone, I've had 3 inquiries from different artists. One from Ireland, I'm sure he's watching, one from Ireland and 2 from the UK, who had their music, and it's like, DJ Abass, I've just made this song, I want to get it out there. I'm the PR for the Nigerian DJs Association of UK. I have over 300 DJs on my list. So any good song, we'll push it out. And so yes, we do that. In terms of not playing conscious music, he's wrong. At the end of the day, the only thing that dictates what a DJ plays is actually the song and how it connects with the people. So if a song is a conscious song and people are not dancing to it, the DJ doesn't even look at the genre. Does it connect? Trust me, that is the first question. So how many people did Fela play to have his music played? True. It just connected with people. So, but however, the fact is true, some DJs, especially radio DJs in Nigeria, demand money from artists before they get airplay. Now, is that a good or a bad thing? Because you always have to weigh both sides. In this country that we live in, if you are not signed to a proper label and you make good music, your music won't flow because the label deals with all that side of things. You get big stations, put your songs on rotation, airplay. A lot of business goes on behind the scene. Okay, because I don't want our caller to hold that line forever. Are you okay with the answer by DJ Abass? Just quickly, please. Yeah, thank you so much for calling so that we can have others calling. Okay, but that, yeah, thank you. That's actually an interesting angle that you brought in there. So you must know your ways behind the scene. Of course, it's a business. Music is a business. And Africa is just beginning to wake up to the business side of things. And of course, a lot of things are changing. The biggest problem right now is copyright laws and copyright enforcement in Nigeria. Because the radio stations at this present time still do not pay the artists their due as they should be paid, you know, and that needs to be set up properly. So that perhaps if the artists are getting their real due from their work, then they won't feel the need to go and take money from politicians. Okay, I've got another caller in now. Please tell me your name and where you're calling from. And I've seen that message on my screen saying a lot of callers are waiting on the line. We try to squeeze you in, so just make it as snappy as possible. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Joe. I'm calling from London.
All right, go ahead, please.
Yeah, the last caller basically made a point about conscious music and independent artists not getting played on radio and things like that. Yes. So that, to an extent, it shows the way how difficult it is for conscious music or protest music to get played on radio, particularly in Nigeria. Yeah. So it's probably one of the reasons why conscious music is not played, and artists want to earn money. So it's difficult for them to make conscious music when they know it's not going to sell or people don't get played on the radio. So why should they do it first? Thank you.
Thank you so much for that contribution. Now, look, it's good to say I want to be a conscious artist. For people, someone, even to be an activist, you know, people think it's a full-time profession. And I get people, when I tell people I have a full-time day job, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, they get shocked. Is it not that? Do you? Yeah, I do, I do. So, but the fact is, if you're going to fight for the people, you also need to look for other means of survival. So if you want to play conscious music, do some business at the side. Is it a matter of dedication? I mean, entertainment is like a bug. And I've been successful, very successful, and partly it wasn't just my doing. I fell into it by error. Started as a DJ, and at every point you need to, you want to advance yourself a bit more. Entertainment, the way it's been set up in our community, would not necessarily pay your bill if you don't learn to make a business of it. Yeah. And some of these musicians, that's all they know. What I advise every artist is to school themselves in the business of how to make money in entertainment. If I was in Nigeria and I owned a radio station, and one of my presenters came and said, DJ Abass, this is DJ Idris Abdulkarim just dropped the Nigeria Jaga Jaga. The first question is, do we play it? I need to ask myself serious questions. Because if I roll it for an hour or two, I could get shut down. Okay, thank you, it's 50-50. DJ Abass. It's been a pleasure having you on this show. Pleasure. And let me mention that apart from the great Fela Kuti, remember we have Femi Kuti and Seun Kuti, who's performing fantastic artists. And Seun is going to be in London next month. Yeah. You know, so let's support those who play conscious music as we support the Pakurumo set of artists.
I want to thank everyone who contributed to the success of this program. Our executive producer, Alicia Shoyede, Tony, Rose, good night. We'll see you next Thursday, and God bless you.